So, without further ado, let us jump right into our first story of the night. How is it that the Israeli people feel about their government's ongoing genocide of the Palestinians? Well, as one of our viewers, Seb, already mentioned, a Time article quotes the following, says the following: 57.5% of Israeli Jews said that they believe the IDF, or the IOF, the Israeli Occupational Forces, was using too little firepower in Gaza. 36.6 said the IDF was using an appropriate amount of firepower, while just 1.8 said they believed the IDF was using too much firepower. So put this in the context of the fact that since the pause ceased and the genocide continued, and since we returned to our regularly scheduled genocide, we've seen an average of 700 Palestinian lives lost on a daily basis. 40 some percent, which are children. And those are very conservative numbers because we know that there's tens of thousands of people under the rubble that can't be confirmed dead until they're found, if they're ever found. So, when you compare that to the Nazi Holocaust, you're getting very close to numbers that look awfully similar. So that is the reality of the people of Gaza. It's bombs away. More than 70 journalists have died. The amount of children that are dying are just unlike anything we've seen ever. You combine the wars that we've seen in the last 20 years, and it's not matched. And in the face of all that, this is the reply of the Israeli settlers, of the Israeli people. It's tragic, but it shows the success of the ideological apparatuses of the Israeli system, at least within the confines of their own citizens, because we know that at the global level, Israel has completely lost the information war. No one is buying their bullshit anymore. But their citizens, the slaves in the cave that see nothing but the shadows, they have accepted it. In their great majority, they have accepted it, and it's very sad to see. It dehumanizes not just the Palestinian in the eyes of these people, but in being that way, they dehumanize themselves. I come from, as a philosopher, the Socratic tradition that conceives that the harm that we do to others, that the unjustified harm that we do to others, damages us perhaps more, damages our soul, our very being, perhaps more than the physical damage that we can inflict on others. And it's the humanity of those people that is on the line. And when they dehumanize the Palestinians, they are simultaneously dehumanizing themselves. No people, as Dioniso Yupanqui, Peruvian indigenous lawyer, said in the Cadiz courts at the beginning of the 19th century, in a dictum that will then be repeated by Marx, Engels, Lenin, and our wonderful tradition: no people that oppresses another can themselves be free. In their oppression of the Palestinian, in the fact that their whole state is embodied, it gets embodied through apartheid institutions, through racist institutions, through the capacity to wage this genocide that is rooted in an ideology that is supremacist, rooted in colonialism. It is not possible for them as a people, if you could even describe them as a people, and not just as Brooklyn Jewish folks and Polish Jewish folks that just are going to this occupied land and taking it at will. They can't be free, truly free, insofar as this is the condition that their state is in. So it's a very sad situation, but it's deeply rooted in their supremacist ideology. When the basis of how you think about yourself is as God's chosen ones, Everyone else, by implication, becomes inferior, ontologically inferior. And this is not just something that you have to go digging too far to see. Look at the language of Israeli leading officials, the language that they use to describe the Palestinians. Look at the tropes that they use, that they fabricate in order to get people to support Israel's genocidal effort against the Palestinian people. And so, another good example of how it is that the Israeli people feel about the things that their government is currently doing is this: the fact that the number one song in Israel calls for genocide against Palestinians, and specifically for the Israeli occupational forces to kill Bella Hadid, Dua Lipa, and Mia Khalifa. So, some of the more prominent artists that have shown solidarity or sympathy with the plight of the Palestinians. This is a deeply, deeply sick society. A healthy society does not have a song calling for the genocide of a people as its most popular one. A healthy society does not, one, carry out this genocide, but two, have all of its citizens applaud it. And some of them, 57%, critique it for not being forceful enough. So it's a deeply troubling psychology that is inhabited by the vast majority of the Israeli populace, and it's chilling. It's chilling to see, because anyone with even a slither of humanity sees the image that are coming out of Gaza and has their stomachs turn, their eyes water, and gets filled with rage. But the people that are perpetuating this, that are consenting to the government that is doing this, they don't care. They don't care. They want more of it. They want more death, more children killed, more families destroyed, more family lineages completely wiped out from the planet. It's sick. And the international community, the United Nations, nothing, not a peep from them. What good is the United Nations if, in the face of a genocidal war against a people, an attempted extermination of a people, they do nothing? What's its purpose if an event like this can occur in 2023? Despicable. But that's the importance of brainwashing. All right. I want to go to our next story. Oh, no, before that, I want to show one more thing, just to show how it is that the Zionists are perceiving this war. They're celebrating the casualties. Let's listen into to Max Blumenthal, who lets us know that there's a Telegram account with over 110,000 followers, and it's an Israeli Telegram account, and they're constantly sharing the images that are coming out of Gaza. The images that get our stomachs and turn them, that water our eyes, they see them in order to celebrate it. They celebrate those images. It's almost like it's a technological form of lynching. What one of the central components of the lynching of black people in the U.S. South, not that it didn't happen in the North, but it was primarily in the U.S. South, was the spectacle of it. It became a spectacle. It was something that communities would gather around to see. They tried the families trying to take home a toe or an artifact from this nice, almost picnic-like carnival event, and it showed a very deep poverty of humanity in the people that were able to gather and not have their stomachs turned. This is a electronic, virtual form of the same spectacle that we're familiar with in our history with lynching. These are people who literally have a Telegram channel where they can become overjoyous, where they can celebrate the deaths of innocent civilians, of kids, of women, of young men. It's absolutely sickening. Let's listen to what Max Blumenthal has to say.
the Israeli society is whipped up into a genocidal bloodlust. If you look at, like, there's an Israeli Telegram account called Dead Terrorists. It has 110,000 followers, and all it is pictures of dead Palestinians, and people follow it so they can celebrate seeing video of their families crying. It has close-up images of their wounds. It's the most sick thing I've ever seen. Israeli TikTok videos that are blowing up in Israel right now show Israelis dressed up like in racist Arab blackface costumes, including with their kids, mocking people in Gaza for not having electricity. What they want is revenge. They want to end the Gaza Strip and turn it into a stadium, as one of their former ministers, Ayelet Shaked, said. The Israeli society is whipped.
Incredible. Incredible. This is what imperialism produces. We cannot think of Israel as a state and these people as individuals disconnected from the system that produced them. If we do that, we're condemning ourselves to a one-sided, limited, reified understanding of the situation. Israel is a central piece in the imperialist system that functions as a colonial outpost of U.S. imperialism in one of the most resource-rich and geostrategically important areas of the world, which is the Middle East. Israel is the agent, the personification of the imperialist system. So the capitalist system at the stage in which it is in the Middle East. You can't be, if you have a correct understanding of the situation, you can't be disgusted by Israel's actions and not disgusted by the system that produces it. That's the result of capitalism. That's what capitalism produces. That's what a system grounded in one bottom line, which is accumulate as much capital as possible in as few hands as you can. That's what it leads to. It's the same system that gave us the transatlantic slave trade, that gave us the genocide of the indigenous people, that gave us famines, and that gave us genocides in the Congo and India, that gave us Nazism. Now Nazism and fascism are treated as these things that came out of nowhere. Where was Hitler and the ideologues of Nazism basing their laws from? They were basing their laws, their segregationist, racist laws, apartheid laws, on the U.S. South, on the society, the fascist society, that took root in the U.S. South following the counter-revolution of 1876, where it was just free reign to kill black people. And not just to kill them, but to kill them in the form of a spectacle, which was lynching. And also, white people that were sympathetic to the plight of their black brothers and sisters. So this is what the imperialist system, what capitalism produces. The thing is that we haven't seen it like this in a very long time, as open as it is, and we haven't seen it having the capacity of seeing the disturbing images on our phone. That's part of what's special. It's also special in the sense that it comes about with a level of intensity that is itself a reflection of the fact that the imperialist system is on its last days. It's decrepit. U.S. imperialism is decrepit. And falling empires act like this. That's something that you can confirm by just knowing